oh, go get the bag that had all the shit that worked last time and open it up and you're good to
And guess
go.
what? It's not going to work.
Wait a minute.
None of those things
All
work.
I have in here is a hammer, but now there's screws.
Such a great analogy.
This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or therapy. Our full disclaimer can be found in the show notes. Enjoy the show. Welcome, everyone, to the Man Up Together podcast. My name is Alex Peskin, and I'm here with my lifelong friend and co-host, Bobby Jacobs. Bobby, we're getting ready to set out on a little beach trip here.
Yeah.
So excited about that.
It's going to be fun.
Our next episode will be
From the beach.
recording at the beach, so
Yeah.
that should be a good one. But today I think we've got some good plans as well. Of course, we'll do a Why Do Men Like This? We're also going to talk about ways that it can be challenging to be there for a partner. We'll end with a question for Ask a Therapist, Ask a Regular Guy, and we'll call it a day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thanks again for those that are listening and going on this journey with us. Really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so we can keep getting that visibility. And again, appreciate all of you who are listening with us.
Yeah. And just want to remind you that this can also be found on video, which I think most people listen to podcasts and don't watch them. So you missed an excellent part from last week. I was starting to edit, and usually I hit play before we start, and Bobby and I were talking and we were looking at each other, and I noticed I messed with my hair for a second and a piece popped up. And then for the whole episode, I had this cool piece of hair popped up.
Nice.
So
I recognize that one.
yeah,
It's good. I like
so
it.
thanks for leaving me hanging there.
You're welcome. Yeah, no worries. When you get a booger, I won't say anything else. That's fine.
Perfect. So yeah, don't miss the good stuff there. We'll let you know if there's anything like that.
It'll be in the title, like Alex has a booger. Yeah.
The more important part of the episode. Yeah.
Exactly.
But also this week got some good feedback from some people who were listening, and as they were listening to what we're talking about, kind of had some similar experiences. Really always appreciate the feedback you guys give us. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it just makes it fun because it kind of says to me, we're talking about topics that are not fiction. They're not things that we're just making up. These are things that people actually live and care about and questions. Really love the feedback.
Yeah, and hope that kind of some of the point of this is making us think critically about the things that matter in our lives. And that does sound like what happens when people are sending back their feedback.
Absolutely.
That. So,
Absolutely. All right. Well,
shall
let's
we
get into
jump
it.
in? All right. So today
Why do I like this?
we are going to talk about why do men like problem solving?
So we're talking like sitting on the toilet doing math problems, or what are we
for
talking
sure.
about?
That's where I do my math problems.
Always.
So thanks for, No, but personally, I do love a good puzzle.
Same.
I do like being able to solve those kind of problems. We've talked about do-it-yourself stuff around the house and solving all of that. So maybe it's all slightly connected, but we're going to take a little bit of a different angle here today. Why do men like problem solving? When I think about what we're trying to hit today, is when they hear their partner talking about something that happened, whether it's something that happened in their day, something that happened between the two of them, whatever it is, something that they're struggling with. This is not an always, but it feels like very often the male partner in a heterosexual relationship will be the one who says, well, did you tell your boss this? Or did you send this kind of email? Or did you check under this or whatever it is? And that's just kind of our instinct in that moment. And so why do we like that? Why do we like problem solving?
Yeah. So I'll put a stamp on this one. This is something I do constantly that I know drives my wife. I know she's oftentimes looking not for any problem to be solved, just to listen to the fact that there is a problem. And that's hard for me. I think some of this goes back. We had our mansplaining. Why do men like this episode?
Yeah,
I think I think there are some similarities that we can kind of drag between the two of those. I think for me, why do I like problem solving is because I'm a problem solver. I can't sit in a problem and have it exist and not be trying to address it. I think the bigger challenge is when my wife oftentimes comes to me with what I assume to be a problem, I'm missing the point of what the problem is. The problem isn't necessarily that Becky at work, and I My wife works with nobody named Becky, making up a name here. But Becky at work, that's not the problem that she was mean to her or said something in an email. The problem is how she feels about that. And I'm not recognizing that part of it.
Yeah.
So
like
I
that.
think for why do I like it? It's because I like solving a problem. The challenge I'm having is I'm not addressing the right problem.
Well, so as you're talking about this and we're talking about why do men like this, I'm thinking you're kind of helping us get to a why do we like it?
Yeah.
Because you're saying in different words that what I think I'm hearing you say is there is something concrete here that I can look at and I can analyze and I can know, oh, if I set up a few steps, I think this problem will go away. I love that you're able to say, I'm missing the point because that's not actually the problem,
Right.
but there's safety and comfort to saying, like, this is a 3-step issue that I could just make my way through and we're good to go. And now my wife's not upset anymore and we can move on to talking about fun and happy things and it's all good.
Yeah, it's that analytical side of things versus, and I don't think it has to be this way, but I think sometimes analytics and empathy don't often go together very well.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think what we're being asked for is empathy and not an analysis.
Okay. Why do men like this?
So-
Well, we'll do it again. That I think generally we're socialized not to sit in the emotion. Empathy is sitting in someone's emotion
Super
with them
deep.
and feeling
Right.
it with them. Analyzing is taking all of the emotion out
Exactly.
and just saying, tackle this problem, get it out of here, make
Yeah.
it better. And I think we're
programmed and
socialized for
socialized to do
that.
that.
Yeah. And so,
So-
I love that you can kind of name it in that way.
So why is it a good thing? Again, from the analytical brain perspective, because there's a problem and there's a solution.
Good try.
So
yeah.
therefore, x plus x equals 2x, right? So I do think there is sometimes an opportunity to help our partners maybe look at something in a different light. Whether or
cool.
not it's the light that we should be looking at it in. But I think there are some times where I can definitely have the conversation with my wife where she does come full circle of, all right, yep, we can fix this issue.
Yes. I would argue.
We're very quickly going to get into why this
Right.
isn't a good thing.
I would argue that would be even more available if you start with the empathy side. But you're right. We'll talk about the why that this is a good thing.
I don't know.
But
Any other
why is this a
parts?
good thing? I've got the rose-colored glasses. See, you should be watching on video. Just looked at my glasses. I got the rose-colored glasses on now, or silver lining, whatever you want to call it. It is a signal that we care.
It is.
We aren't caring in the way that will make them feel cared for. But it is a signal. We are trying to solve something because it makes us uncomfortable sometimes to see someone who matters to us struggling. And so it's that we care.
So I love that you put a sentence to that because I've had that argument right, with my wife. And the argument from her perspective is you're not listening. You're not feeling my feelings. Therefore, you don't care. And I'm like, no, like I really do care. And I'm showing you how much I care because I'm trying to solve your problem.
Right.
Again, we're going to continue
I
to go
care
back to-
and I'm doing it wrong. Both can be true.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm right and I'm not wrong.
You're right, but I'm not wrong.
Right. Like I think I really like that you put that there because I don't think that oftentimes this happens. And this is, I think, where the differentiation in mansplaining and problem solving happens is where mansplaining is you're just trying to be right regardless of whatever's happening.
True.
Whereas this problem solving thing that we're kind of breaking down here is there's nothing to be right or wrong about. I'm trying to help you solve what I perceive as the problem that you are encountering now.
I am.
Yeah.
Not
I am
happy
caring.
that you're
right.
uncomfortable
I want
something.
to fix the problem for
Right.
you. I want something's broken. I'm the glue. Let's fix it. Let's put it back together. Let's make it happen. But again, we're not oftentimes addressing the actual
Right. So we've already gotten into this a bunch, but why is this maybe not a good thing? I think we've said in a lot of different ways, but what we think the problem is generally not exactly the problem. I liked how you named it's not the action that they're stuck in, but it's the feelings they're having around it. Another way that I like to talk about this with my couples in couples therapy is there is a problem. You actually are the maybe only person in the entire world who can solve it. You just don't see what the problem is.
I like that.
In that moment, the problem is your partner feels disconnected or lonely. They're wanting to share something with you. They're wanting to be seen for the emotional experience they're having. The problem isn't that someone at work made them feel that way. The problem is they're sitting in that emotion alone right now.
Right.
And they're inviting you to take care of them by saying, can you help me not be alone in this? And sometimes that can be really useful for the couples that I talk about this with, because then it's kind of reframing, oh, I can be the problem solver. I am the glue
Right.
in an even more powerful way than I thought. I don't even have to take care of the thing at work. All I have to do is show you you matter to me right now by listening, by
Mhm.
wanting to understand you, by being present with you, and then you're okay. Ah,
So I think what I'm hearing is someone came to you being vulnerable. It's uncomfortable to be around someone who's vulnerable. It's even worse to be vulnerable around that person and to sit in that together.
yeah.
And I really like how you said that, sitting in empathy together, like that is sitting in someone's emotions with them. None of these things are comfortable, right?
Yeah.
And I know for me, and again, what we're getting at here is this socialization of what, the man doesn't want to sit there. Sitting there is stewing in it. Sitting there is not addressing something. But to your exact point, we have to maybe take that step back and understand what the true fault is that's going on. Do the diagnostics, however you want to look at this, right? Oftentimes, I'll put it to this: your car, your brakes are squealing, right? They may not be squealing because the brake pads are bad. They may be squealing because something else is the issue.
Mm.
But if we just address the thing that's the low hanging fruit, oftentimes that's not what's
Oh,
needing to be
I really
addressed.
like that.
Yeah.
Let me truly understand you right
Yeah.
now, not just say, "Oh, might be the brakes." Boop,
Right.
done, taking care of it.
Yeah.
First, you have to get to the bottom. I like that too, because you were saying before, like sometimes your wife does come all the way around. She's like, "Well, the idea you had early on was good."
Also,
Right?
if we
Might
tighten this, the brakes might
Right.
stop squeaking.
It might be the brake pads that need to be taken care of. But if you first sit and look through the whole thing, now you're saying this was worth me diving into
Yeah.
and knowing what the real problem is. And then we can go, oh, there's actually a solution to this.
Yeah.
Not only do I feel heard and taken care of and I matter to you,
Right.
now maybe you might have some good ideas of what we can do about the thing that might stress me out tomorrow.
Right.
Also, if we don't solve it.
Yeah.
Good way to look
This
at
is fun though. I think the problem solving thing, when we talked about this, I was like, I like puzzles.
that.
Actually, I hate puzzles. Like picture puzzles,
Brain puzzles.
brain puzzles,
Yeah.
absolutely love. One of my favorite things on the planet. But yeah, I think that it makes a lot of sense. I think we're continuing to get back to is this requirement to understand the root cause of certain things and
Mhm.
understand that our emotions, our partner's emotions truly do dictate realities, right? And it's the reality at that moment that we need to be understanding of.
And the key in all of this is just to go slow. Again, that's
Mm,
kind of what we're doing here.
that's
We're
really hard.
slowly
It's really
trying
hard.
to make sense of something because our instincts kick in.
Yeah.
And so when your partner is sharing something with you and you see they're uncomfortable about it and you're like, well, there's a solution. And if this happened differently at work, it would go, you're like, very fast. Your instincts are saying, I can destroy this.
Right.
And that's great. But the slower way is saying, oh, this is about connection.
That's a
Yeah.
really good tip, because that's really hard to do, especially in a situation where maybe you're not expecting to have a deep conversation. I know oftentimes some of these conversations with my
Off
wife,
guard, yeah.
they'll come, exactly, they'll come off guard. They'll come as you're getting ready for bed, as you're sitting in the car driving somewhere, and it's like, oh yeah, I can help you fix that problem. But what my wife is actually looking for is maybe, and again, I think it's okay, to your point, to go slow and say, all right, we can have this conversation. Maybe not when we're checking out at Costco.
I actually want to do this well for you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you when I'm gonna be present enough,
Right.
available enough for that, because I'm having trouble doing
Yeah.
two things at once, maybe. Yeah,
I mean,
I like that.
a lot of things. It's challenging for me right
There
now.
we go.
It's the
Way to go.
I didn't fix it right away. I don't want a to-do list. All of the, I remember sitting, my desk is a foot away from me over there, and there's a to-do list on that desk right now that's not completely crossed off.
Yeah,
This is fun. I
I like
appreciate
that.
this.
Yeah, and so let's move into what we're gonna talk about in a more specific way here today, because we want to start with problem solving because it's one way that we try and show up for our partner. Today, we're going to talk about basically three different buckets of important times to show up for your partner.
Yeah.
And so the first one we're going to do is showing up for your partner when they're pregnant. The second one we'll do is showing up for your partner when they're experiencing some version of loss. And then the third one will be showing up for your partner when they're experiencing some version of change in mental health in their life.
Yeah. And I think what's fun about these to me is that no matter where I think we are in our relationships, no matter where we are in our lives, I think we can probably all find a piece of one of these. but
Mhm.
it's going to be relatable.
Yeah, and in past episodes also, we've talked about our experiences as the partner
Mhm.
with a pregnant wife, our experiences of loss, and also talked about some of our mental health journey. And so I think it'll be good today to kind of take that other
Yeah.
angle of what about when it's something going on for your
Right.
partner
But it's
there
not
too.
me, but it is you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's all your
All
relationship.
right. So pregnancy, let's get into it.
Yeah. So your partner is pregnant and your whole life is about to change. Let's say first pregnancy might as well. Well, I
Sure.
mean, you know what? Your life is about to change.
No matter what,
Second,
first, second,
fourth,
third.
fifth,
Yeah.
your life is going to change. Even if you're like, oh, I've done this before, right? When we had our second kids, like, oh, I've done this before. It's fine.
Nope.
They're nothing like the first one. Uh, I think that's across the board, everyone I've talked to,
Absolutely.
anyways. Three things that we picked are all a little bit different in their onset and
Progression.
yeah,
Yeah.
the how long they last. This one I think is interesting because it could be a surprise onset.
hmm
It could be a we planned for this onset. It could be a we've been working for this for a very long time
Right.
onset.
I think the progression of pregnancies, sometimes can be different, right? And I think what's interesting to me about pregnancy is that there's peaks and valleys throughout pregnancy oftentimes.
Sure.
And I'm not going to speak for every situation, but you have this very exciting realization that you're pregnant.
Mm.
And then oftentimes there's a longer period of where not a whole lot is going on yet. So you have your regular doctor's appointments, and then the progression of pregnancy. Now, pregnancy can end in a lot of different ways. It can
Sure.
end, with the birth of a healthy child. It can end with the birth of a child that needs some care, or it can also end not in the birth of a healthy living child. And I think that's something that we recognize, and something that with pregnancy is something that we have to help our partners work through as well. And
Yeah.
so I think pregnancy is it, it's a hard thing because you don't know what the next day holds in pregnancy.
Yeah.
And for your partner, they don't know that either. And not only do they not know that, but in a relationship where your partner is the one pregnant and growing a, a human being, still blows my mind that we grow human
Seriously.
beings inside people and it all works, is the hormonal changes, the physical changes, all of the things that are going on in their body.
Yeah.
And for a woman who's never had a baby before, and this is their first child, they don't know what to expect. And even in your second, third, your however many pregnancies you have, you don't know what to expect because things can always be different. There's an unknown.
hmm
For me, that's so hard.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that for me, that was something that my wife and I talked about. And I knew there were certain things that were very, very important to both of us. We wanted to know the genetic testing, for example, right? And we wanted to have an understanding of what that looked like. But then there were some things I think, especially for our second child, I don't want to speak for her, but like, I don't know that she needed to know the gender of the second child while she was pregnant, but I needed to because of the unknown part of it.
Mhm.
So when I think about how do we show up in support of our partners that are pregnant, I think it's recognizing the fact that there is a lot of unknowns that we
Yeah.
have to be. You don't have to be okay with them, but you have to know they're going to be there, and I know they're going to continue to pop up and grow.
Yeah. Talking about problem solving here, right? Like there's so many unknowns. We can try and aim to solve every problem
Right.
there. And some of them might be solvable
Mhm.
technically. A lot of them probably aren't. But I think the tricky part of that is y- you're not going to solve what this feels like for them for possibly the next 40 weeks.
Yes, it is a long
Very long,
time,
yeah.
and that's a challenge too,
Right.
you
And
know?
so talking about supporting them even more there, a lot is changing for basically person you are supporting is different.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, it's the same person who you were with before, but how they exist in the world is different. Physically, they
Right.
feel different. Mentally, emotionally, everything.
And
just
maybe their
feels
priorities are changing too.
Yeah.
I know that for my wife, priorities change. One of the things that I found myself needing to support my wife more with was helping her to prioritize herself. And then also we had to work on prioritizing ourselves and our marriage
Yeah.
during pregnancy, during the early childhood, which holy moly, there's not a lot of time to prioritize anything.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And I think a lot of this does come back to understanding what did we sign up for,
Mhm.
basically. And again, pregnancies can be planned,
Sure.
pregnancies can be quick, they can take a long time. they can also be unplanned. But if you're going to continue to be pregnant, you're kind of understanding
Right.
this is the process that we're moving into next. And something that is very interesting for me, I think I can try and make sense of it in a way where it's, I want to call understandable,
Hmm.
but also like not truly understandable. I hear so much about struggling men whose partners are pregnant and the ways that they are not able to show up for them.
Mm.
That you don't come to couples therapy because you're like, we did a really good job of showing up for each other. It's when you don't. And so also my colleagues who work with a lot of couples and people who have worked through pregnancy, we talk about a lot of different things that can happen. And there's just shutdown
Hmm.
sometimes for the partner who's not pregnant. There's finding ways to be out of the house
Right.
and kind of avoid the challenges of the home and of trying to be there for your partner who's going through some very serious hormonal shifts that maybe makes it more challenging to stay slow and connected and close with each other. There's also a significant amount of anecdotal stories that I've heard throughout my career around men being unfaithful to their wife during pregnancy. And it's right, it's enough that sounds like a trend. 8, 9, 10 people that I've heard do it. Yeah, it makes sense. Again, like we've talked about our side of this and what it's like for us. But maybe the part that's important for us to be making sense of today is how can we wrap our head around what it means to know this is someone that we are supposed to be taking care of, someone we are supposed to be supporting, and it isn't supposed to feel exactly like it did before the pregnancy. We don't feel connection in the same way. We don't feel priority in the same way. We don't have the same sexual connection over that period of time as we did. And that's a feature,
Hmm.
not a bug. That's not weird
Mm.
and unusual when your partner is pregnant. That's part of what we signed up
Right.
for or are going to be signing up for by
Right.
continuing the pregnancy.
One of the things that I found myself doing a lot during my wife's pregnancies, again, going back to the problem solving part of this,
Mhm.
was trying to fix the symptoms that she was having.
Ah,
And hindsight's oftentimes pretty clear. These were, first off, unfixable problems,
right.
right? Because there was something happening physically within my wife that it's not a problem. It's not a bug. It's a
Right.
feature.
I can make you stop being nauseous
Right.
when you're pregnant.
Exactly. There were all these other things where I needed to have shown up in a different way,
Mm,
right? And I needed to have understood it wasn't personal. It surely wasn't about me.
right.
It was absolutely about what was going on for her. And, understanding that maybe there are unspoken conversations that are happening within your partner of, I'm scared.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know what this is going to look like. I'm scared just for my own physical health. I'm scared for my own mental health. And then, oh yeah, I'm also scared for all of those same things for the little critter that's growing inside of me,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, I do have maybe a little bit of emotional capacity left to be scared about my relationship with my partner that seemingly may be struggling.
Yeah.
And so I think all of those things, I don't know that I was very well aware of them, or at least maybe they weren't front of mind. It was always, oh, your back hurts. Well, let's go and find this pregnancy pillow that makes your back not hurt. Oh, you're nauseous. Let's
And
stop cooking. I don't know what it
chicken.
was.
Yeah.
Whatever
And
the benign
yeah,
thing
it
is.
was chicken in our house.
Yeah.
Bringing in that idea of care, like, do you care? I think it's all amplified here. We talked about that in
Yeah.
Why Do Men Like This?
Yeah.
Do you not care about me because all you're trying to do is solve my problem and not sit with me and
Right.
want to be curious about me? You named it really well. It's no, I really, really do care about you. This is just the way I know how to do it, and I'm doing it wrong.
Right.
But that feeling's probably even more amplified.
Sure.
He doesn't even want to be near me. He's like, oh, she's nauseous. I have to make her stop being nauseous. I have to get right whatever message she might be getting. That's really hard because we're not saying, let me just understand you more. Let me make you not feel alone. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to be here with you. This must be so hard. What is it like to be feeling like you have no energy and
the smallest things
Yeah.
are huge accomplishments, and
Yeah.
it's a hard thing.
Yeah. What does it feel like to get so emotionally distraught about something that didn't affect you 2 months ago before you were pregnant? What is this like versus saying, "Oh, I'm uncomfortable because my partner's uncomfortable and I care so much about them, so I'm gonna make it go away and I'm gonna just make it go away," versus I care so much about them. The one thing I want to make go away is them to feel like they're going through this alone.
Right.
And yeah, it's hard for us to slow down and stay in that and to maintain the focus that that's the actual issue in
Yeah.
general. Like, everything is amplified. That's normally the issue in the relationship anyways, but it's all amplified in a situation like that.
Yeah. One of the things that I think helped me help my wife, because I think that's where we're trying to make sure we're getting
Yeah.
at here, is we read some books together. I read a book on my own. There's a football player who wrote a book about becoming a dad. And the beginning of the book was about supporting his wife during pregnancy and all the things that he did not do well. So that was really helpful. And for me and for her also was going to doctor's appointments together with my background in physiology and all the things. It's a passion of mine.
Reproductive physiology.
Specifically. Now that gets a little long when you get to her doctor and I talking about comparative placentation while she was giving birth, but
I know what that means.
different conversation. But again, I think we went through those conversations together with the doctor, and
Mm.
so I recognized that it was something that she needed me to be there with her for, and so I think this looks different. Again, we're never going to be in a place where we're going to tell you this is step one, this is step two, this is
Yeah.
step three. These are tools that I used, things that helped me be in a place to make things a little bit better, a little less challenging. But they were still challenging. I think it's also okay to recognize that it doesn't have to look like it does in the movies. It doesn't have to be easy. It doesn't have to be beautiful all the time.
Right. You have all of the energy in the world
Yeah.
to show up in every exact way your
Right.
partner needs. Like,
Right.
that is hard too, right? We're not saying you just have to suck it up and be
Right.
perfect.
You should not
Yeah.
compromise yourself also, and then compromise your mental health, your physical health. Now there may be
Right.
compromises that are made, but we're
But
not.
also, a partner who is pregnant is gonna have different things going on for them and have different capacities, but they're also not gonna be fully gone, right? Like, you
Sure.
can have conversations and
Yeah.
ways to find different versions of understanding and connection and what your relationship needs, right? This is not just like, I have to sacrifice it all for them now. And so I like that you named that part there too.
And I would say some of the most fun conversations I had with my wife that I really do remember were during, her pregnancies, where we were talking about names for children, or we were talking
Mhm.
about the vision for a nursery, and even just more some benign bullshit conversations that were just fun because we
Yeah.
connected, because we were both going through, one of us much more than other, both going through this truly life changing and altering. Do you know one of the things I learned too during pregnancy? They're all different.
Yes.
Gone through a couple, and
Yeah.
neither the first nor the second were the same. And they weren't the same for me, and they weren't the same for my partner either. And I think that was another, just because you've been pregnant once, you've been pregnant once.
Right. It's like, oh, go get the bag that had all the shit that worked last time and open it up and you're good to
And guess
go.
what? It's not going to work.
Wait a minute.
None of those things
All I
work.
have in here is a hammer, but now there's screws.
Such a great analogy.
Yeah.
Times
But
two.
you only truly find that out if you're able to go slow and be curious about how each other's being affected in this. And so,
All right.
so the next thing that we're going to talk about is what happens when your partner goes through some version of loss.
Yeah.
And so the way that we wanted to think about this was, it could be someone close to them dies.
Mhm.
It could be a loss of a friendship. It could be a loss of a job or financial stability. Whatever it is, there's that understanding that something important was lost to them and is going to impact them there. Again, we've talked about what it was like to experience loss
Mhm.
and to have our partner there. But what about when it's something that's just happening to your
Mhm.
partner?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. And I think there are gonna be some themes here, obviously.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is connection, and working to not lose that connection. As I think about my wife, I have been with my wife as she has lost a very good friend, grandparents, and others. I think the biggest thing is communication and
Mm.
recognizing that it's gonna be really hard communication, and I'm not good at that. Your partner may shut down and
Yeah.
not want to communicate. What does it look like to try and work through that together? I was just going to use the word break through that, but like I think that's probably maybe you don't want to break through it. You want to work on what that looks like
That's like
together.
problem
Yeah,
solving. Like,
exactly.
how do
I'm
I
forcing
destroy
this to
this
happen,
thing? Yeah.
right? And so I think that's part of it is the communication, but I also think it's the empathy part of it too. Loss of maybe someone in your partner's life that you may not have that same connection that they do to
Yeah.
that person, where
Yeah.
you are sad because somebody that your partner cares about has passed, but you're not feeling the same sadness.
Right.
And that's really hard because I remember having a conversation with my wife when her friend passed away. And I said the words like, I'm really sad, but I don't feel like I have the right to be sad right now.
Oh, yeah.
And and that was hard. And but again, that was a conversation that we had to have together.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested in something there. I don't know if you can know the answer
yeah,
to this, but I would want to argue that maybe it feels even better if you know your partner is sad too. Not to the extent where you make it about you.
sure.
You're like, well, now you have to take care of me because I'm also sad. But I wonder if that's the ultimate version of feeling connected and have empathy
Mhm.
because you're saying, I am distraught about this loss. This person is so close to me. Why is my Are you just like cool over
Right.
it? You knew them also, and I thought you cared about them, and I thought you cared about me. But if you're a little bit sad, you're also saying, "Yeah, we're in this together, and
Well, you said it
there's nothing
earlier.
wrong with how you're feeling right now. I'm even feeling it with
Right.
you."
It's sitting in those emotions together. And while you can sit in
Yeah.
an emotion together, I kind of think of it like soup. Every part of the soup's not the same, but it's all in the same soup.
Might get weird, but to use your
Yeah.
analogy, you're saying, "I'm in the soup with you."
Right. I'm in the soup with
I'm
you.
not the breadstick on the outside saying,
Yeah.
"What's it like in there?" Like I'm
Right.
swimming in there with
Right.
you.
And I think that's important. Now, where again, I think it's important to obviously not fake sadness, right?
Sure.
Or feign sadness because
But
that
if
probably
you are,
goes the other
yeah,
direction. But like, yeah, if you are sad and if your sadness is just, I'm sad because you're really upset and you're hurting right now,
yeah,
and I'm sad because that makes me feel sad, that's also in the same soup. That's
well,
also in the same
yeah.
place. And so I think that's,
Right, you care about me this
yeah,
much.
that's an
Yeah.
important one. So, I mean, again, we're going to go back to the same conversations around communication and openness in that conversation. One of the things that I think I struggle with sometimes is, again, trying to fix it, which you can't fix it,
Mhm.
but what do you do because you're living a different shared experience, if you will, right? So
Yeah.
how do you
And this
progress?
Yeah, and this one's interesting because if we compare it to pregnancy, right, we talked about the onset
Hmm.
is it could be sudden, but
Right,
also could be quick and planned or long drawn out and planned. This one is usually more sudden,
right.
right? Someone my age died
Hmm.
in an accident, right? Like you don't plan for those
Hmm.
things. Those are so sudden. And so I think it changes what you need, right? Sometimes you need something a little different during pregnancy. We're going to talk about other things as well that are a little bit different, but what you need is a little bit different and how long it's going to last is different.
I think
Or
also there's a need for you to be the strong partner. Let's say your partner has a sudden loss in their life, friend died, parent died,
Mhm.
whatever. Obviously, being there for your partner to absorb and address that initial emotional response is really
Yeah.
important. But then there's also, at least in my experience, a need to maybe take on some of the just the logistical aspects. Like, shit, we're gonna make a flight. They're not able to do that.
Right.
I'm gonna show up because I now again, this may be that problem solving part, which is there, but
But
like,
I think, right,
I'm gonna make
part
the
of the
flights. I'm gonna
uh,
figure out a way to deal with the children and what's gonna happen there. I'm gonna figure out a way to make sure that my wife, who maybe has already left to go there, has clothes for a funeral or whatever that looks like.
right, but part of what you're kind of asking before too is how do you even know how to be there for them? I think the answer you're actually getting to right now is it actually changes in phases.
Absolutely.
They're going to need you to hold the ship together in the beginning because this sudden thing happened and they weren't prepared for it. And the biggest pain is right in the beginning
Yeah.
of it, right? You don't get excited like in the beginning of pregnancy for most of the time. The biggest pain is right in the beginning. And so you have to keep the pieces together, maybe do some more logistical things. And then it shifts. And so if you just keep focusing on, well, what I did early on works, then you're missing, and
Perfect
you
point.
have to shift with it and just
Yeah.
kind of be the word. We're going to use probably the same words the whole episode here, but just be present with them and want to understand what is it they need right now, because it could be valuable to have them have room to kind of rebuild their ability to plan and work on the logistical things that truly are their responsibility in their life at some point, right? You don't want to enable them,
Mhm.
but you also don't want to like just drop them and say, you'll figure it out now. You're good to go. And so what is the emotional support that comes with shifting
Yeah.
our roles in that situation, and just always being careful to know caring about you means I want to understand what you need right now, not I know exactly what you need. It goes up and down there as well. You might fall apart again 2 weeks later when all the dust settles, and might not be able to handle anything logistically for
Right.
a little while. And that's not because we're back at square one. It's because that's what grieving is like
Right.
sometimes.
I think it helps if there's an acceptance on your part that things may never go back the way they were prior to this traumatic event. Now, again,
We called this change, right?
right.
Wanted to find 3 kind of change
Yeah.
events. Change doesn't usually mean
Right.
it changes and then like
Changes back.
reverts.
Right.
Yeah, there's something that
Yeah.
is gonna be different in all these situations to
Yeah.
some extent forever.
Yeah. And if we talk about maybe a loss of a job, right, that could be a change in the way that your partner feels valued, in the way that they have a self-worth, in the way that they feel accepted by their peers or viewed by their peers.
Can even lead to a fear the next time they have a job,
Right.
because what about that time I suddenly lost my job?
Right. Yeah. So I think that understanding that, you said it perfectly, change doesn't mean reverting back,
Yeah.
I think is an important part of that too. And sometimes I would say maybe helping our partners to recognize that that's an okay
Mhm.
response, that any response that you have to an event like this is your response, and that's okay.
Ooh.
How do I show up for that response
Yeah,
too?
that's interesting, Bobby, though, because it sounds like what you're saying is, what if sometimes they get in their head about needing to problem solve?
Yeah.
This is wrong. The way I'm experiencing this is wrong and bad, and I have
Hmm.
to make it better. That sounds like a really beautiful way
Yeah.
to support
Just
them, to
completely
say, hey,
reversed. Yeah.
you don't have to solve this. You don't have to find a way to get back to what things were like before this crisis happened in your life. Let's be in this together and know what this means for us moving
Right.
forward. And that's okay.
In
Takes the
situation
pressure off, I think,
Sure.
too.
In situations where you have someone that's questioning their self-worth, questioning their own value, I think, in my opinion, and I could be wrong here, but I think in my opinion, one of the worst things you can do is just try to change somebody's perception of themselves.
Yeah.
You have to recognize why they're feeling that way. What's driving that emotional response or even that analytical response in their brain of not good enough anymore.
Mhm.
And maybe what's the root cause of it? Obviously, the root cause of that may have been they lost a job or whatever it was, but there's more to it as
Right. And
well.
also, you're seeing someone you care about being uncomfortable,
Right.
and the fast instinct can be to problem solve. Sometimes that doesn't come out good either.
Mhm.
I'm not good enough, and you can get angry.
Yeah.
What do you lost a job. People lose jobs. Well, it's not that big of a deal. Get over it. You're not like not good enough. I don't want to hear it anymore. Right.
Right.
It can be really hard to get into that space, and it can be really hard to stay slow and to support somebody.
And then a lot of times, the other thing you're weighing on top of that is your own, and impact on your own life, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever that situation is this also likely will impact my life at the same time as it impacts their life, as it
Right.
impacts our life. There's
Oh,
three
yeah.
different of those
And the
aspects that are
fear
in
can
there.
come up of, oh no, if they just keep doing this wallowing thing, they're never going to get better, which means our life isn't ever going to get better. Our
Right.
relationship won't. It goes
Yeah.
fast.
We all live in the
Yeah.
moment, right? At least at some level, we all live in the moment. And it's hard to kind of see what is it? See the clouds, the trees, or whatever the hell
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
saying is, right? Again, I don't want to be the whole like, everything happens for a reason and everything gets better. Horse shit. But everything changes. I think change is the only
Yeah.
truth that we see continually. And that change, I think, is something that we should probably recognize, a little bit better.
Yeah. In our
The
episode
prospect
about
for change.
grieving, we talk about what are things that suck when people say it to you. Would you agree with me? This made me think about one of those.
Okay.
This too shall pass.
This too shall
Right?
pass. Yeah.
And you're kind of saying that, but not in the like
Right.
pain in the ass way. You're like, everything is going to
Right.
change.
Yeah. This too shall pass. Yes.
Yeah.
The sun will set because the earth will continue to rotate. Yes. The day will pass. The
Yeah.
emotions will change,
Yeah.
but the emotions today are just as relevant today as the emotions are going to be tomorrow. But yeah, time will change, or at least time will progress. But yeah, this too shall pass. Hate it.
Sure.
Stupid.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Now what?
Yeah.
How,
Seriously.
how long should I wait?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, gosh. Anything I could do during that time to make it feel different while it's passing.
Exactly.
But yeah, anyways, we can move on to the third one now,
Perfect, let's
which
do it.
has like even a little bit different onset and trajectory with it. So the third thing we're going to talk about now is change in mental health.
Mhm.
And so this can be something that is quick onset. There are episodes of mental health that can happen to people that have a pretty quick onset. A lot of the time, though, mental health changes are from prolonged experiences that we're having, whether that's actually some of the things we talked about already. We didn't even plan for that, but pregnancy, having a child, losing a family member, losing a friend, losing a job, all of those changes can be one of those slow onsets to change in mental health as well. And
So many of these mental postpartum, post-trauma. What happens after something happens? Right?
That's actually a great point. Yeah, that's where the names even come from. You're right. And also, just to name it, mental health can change when challenges in your relationship with your partner are significant and or prolonged.
Yeah.
And so that's
when the
an even
relationships you
trickier
care about the
one, yeah.
most are challenged or struggling. It should be of no surprise that it could alter your own mental health for sure. Yeah.
And so there are lots of different ways for mental health changes to occur.
I would ask you a question. In your experience, do partners often recognize those changes? Or is the situation typically like my partner is doing X, I don't like that, or that's not working for us, and then it's trying to figure out what is there a mental health perspective to it? Maybe not a clear question.
Yeah, I think that also there's not a clear answer. I think I'm
Okay.
understanding what you're saying. And so I'll give you the broader answer of these are all the different ways that it can happen.
Okay.
That they can be saying, why are you treating me this way? I don't like this. This isn't how you used to treat me, and take it personally. They can say, oh, I'm noticing something different in the person that I love. I want to be doing research or take them to a doctor or be curious about it. It could be, this doesn't feel good for me. And so I'm going to back away from them in some way to preserve how I feel or to deal with the impact this is having on my mental health because it's both of your relationships.
So let me ask you another question. What if it's, I think my partner is going through XYZ. They don't think so. How does that conversation happen, right? And I'll just give like a random example. Like, I think my wife is having some post-traumatic issue because of losing a job. Again, random. They think they're fine. Am I having a mental health challenge? Is my partner having that? Are we both experiencing it together?
I love
know.
that. Yeah.
How does that work?
So one way you could do it is be like, oh, there's a problem. Let's problem solve.
Exactly.
You'd say, there's something wrong with you. You need to X, Y, and Z. You should X, Y, and Z.
My wife responds really well when I tell her there's something wrong with her.
Everyone responds really well to that. That's why when we talked about what is good about problem solving, we had the exhausted list about why it's so great. That is one way that it does show up.
Okay.
And doesn't usually turn out to be great. The other way you can show up in that space is to kind of use all the other ways we've been talking about things in this episode and make sense of what it means to be present with each other and vulnerable with each other in that experience. If someone is not seeing it or denying it, whatever it is that's keeping them from agreeing with you, showing up with your concerns actually can seem like you are supporting them.
Mm,
I'm worried about you. I think I'm noticing something,
I like that.
and it makes me kind of scared of how this could impact you. Not
Uh,
saying you're a problem and I have to solve you. You're saying because you matter to me, something is impacting me, and I want to let you know what's happening to me here.
yeah,
That I think can break the ice a little bit differently because now they're not hearing you're bad, you're a problem, you suck, you need to fix something. You're saying, I'm having feelings about something right now. Can you sit with me with those?
I like that.
Mm.
That's really helpful. I think one of the things too that I would help me help my partner in that situation too would be learning, right? Especially in a situation where there is a diagnosis from a
Yeah.
trained professional who is equipped and authorized or however you want to say it to make those diagnoses. I think that if your partner is diagnosed with a condition that you don't understand,
Hmm.
it is on you to maybe do a little bit of research to better understand that because
Yeah.
I think it'll help you to better understand the situation that you're both in together. You should not be there to be curing or treating or whatever the words you want to use your partner. But I think that when a lot of these situations, you are definitely a part of that journey. You're definitely a part of that process.
Yeah. I
Now,
feel like in a way you're kind of naming killing two birds with one stone here.
sure.
I want to be a problem solver. I like being analytical. I really care about you. So I'm going to research and like,
Right.
get to the bottom of all of it.
Yeah.
And because I know you aren't a nail that I just have to hammer in, I'm also going to show up for you.
Right.
And that knowledge might slow me down a little bit so that I can be there for you.
Right.
Not tell you all the right things because the book told me,
Yeah.
but right, it kind of gives you both sides
Yeah,
there.
and then the watch out for that, to give a watch out is if you are not a trained person in this area, it's probably the world's worst thing to be diagnosing your
Yeah.
partner with something,
Reading
right?
books is good if the perspective is, I want to make sense of this more,
Right.
not, I know this is a you thing and I'm going to become
Perfect.
your healthcare provider
Exactly.
because I read enough books
Right.
about it.
Please don't diagnose your partner.
And sometimes we might think we see something. And again, we could be completely right, completely wrong is the other option there too, for
Yep.
sure. But if you're coming to them saying, I'm concerned, I'm wondering about this thing, that's different than saying, I got me 2 books about being a partner for this. I got you 2 books about having this. And here's what we're going to do so that we can fix it now. And right, like that is for
Yeah.
sure very different.
I also love your the way you're saying this of this is something that I'm seeing and I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm scared. Therefore, I would like to have this conversation. That's a much different conversation than going, "You're fucked up. Can you fix
Yeah.
yourself because it's bothering me?" Right? Like
Exactly. And
that.
that could know how much this comes from your care about them,
Yeah.
but that could be the actual message you're sending. Obviously, not the words you're going to use,
Please,
but the actual,
please don't.
yeah, the actual message you could be sending there,
Yeah.
and can hit on so many or create so many
Yeah.
insecurities that then are just building more and more disconnection.
I think somebody going through whether it's an acute or long term mental health challenge, the last thing they want to hear is, "Oh, it's me." Sure, that's probably what's going through their head every second of every day is what's the matter with me? What's the matter with me? What's the matter with me? They don't also need to hear that from their
Right.
partner.
I think
That's
it's
their
even
support
different.
there.
It's what is happening to me is
Right.
different than what am I doing wrong? And we
Right.
can take it that way
Right.
too. If you're like, you need to do this or there's something going on.
Right.
It's something is happening to you. It's not your fault generally when mental
Right.
health issues show up.
Well, and here's the thing is like what pisses me off so much is I would say most of the time if you go out and you have a physical health, let's say you go out and you get
Mm,
diagnosed with cancer, nobody's gonna go, well, you fucked up. You shouldn't have done that. But in like so often, I think with mental health challenges, and you go and you say, well, I was diagnosed with whatever it was. It's like, well, just get over it. Like, just fix yourself.
yeah.
What these are issues that are very similar, like mental health, physical health. We've had this conversation previously. Like,
Yeah.
stop disconnecting these things, right? And
Yeah.
like, yes, address them differently because they are different considerations, but think of them in a similar light of you got a physical health issue, great, let's work on this. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna make whatever efforts we can to work on this together. Same damn conversation with mental health
Yeah.
challenges.
It is for sure the message that this is so different. I think also though it's harder, I would say, because mental health issues can sometimes impact the people around you differently than medical issues can.
That's a really
And
good point.
that's where it gets harder to keep your focus of what's really going on. This is talked about a lot with addiction.
Okay.
That generally when you're struggling with addiction, you really deeply hurt all of the people closest to you in your life. And you are going through a severe mental health issue that means this is not something that you're every day waking up and being like, this would be a fun thing to do to someone I love today. Both of those things are true. And so
Yeah.
it gets so tricky. How do I show up for someone? How do I make sure they don't feel alone? Because that is a huge solution to a lot of the mental health concerns that we have, while also knowing sometimes they're not going to be ready for that and they're going to hurt me first.
Hmm.
And so that's, I think what you're naming is such an important perspective to have, is to know this is something that's happening to them. It hurts when it happens back to me. Something happens back to me, but
Mhm.
how can I hold both of those together?
That's a good point.
Because that can be really tricky. And that makes me think of a good way to maybe tie together
Yeah.
everything that we've talked about here today, because I think there's the thread that connects all of these is knowing there is something happening to your partner right now that is going to make them show up differently than before. It's just the simplest to
Right.
say is before.
Right.
And maybe another way to say it would be then is they're going to show up differently as a partner than they were when things felt easier, safer, more okay in their
Better.
life. Better. Yeah. And when things aren't feeling better, they're likely not going to show up in a way that makes them the most supportive partner. And so that's where I think the perspective is so important. Whether it's your partner's going through pregnancy, an unexpected loss, a mental health concern, you're going to have to understand that what I can expect from them is going to be a little bit different for a while. And because of how much I care about them, I still want to show up for them in the best way that I can.
I love
If
that.
you still want to,
Yeah.
right? Nothing is we sign up till death do us part except for when we don't, right? And so nothing you don't have to show up in any part of your partner's life for them if you don't want to stay partners. But if they truly matter to you and if you're able to look at it as they're not doing a thing to me because they're pregnant and their hormones are out of whack. And so sometimes they lose patience with me sooner than they used to. That's not their fault. It hurts. And what is it like to wrap my head around something is going on for them
Mhm.
and they need me right now? Is there a way to show up for someone who has less of a capacity to be there for you in that time? So it's something to think about. What does it mean to care about someone? Sometimes it's knowing you're going to be there for them a little bit more. Sometimes they're going to be
Yeah.
there for you a little bit more.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I think it's a perfect place to leave it.
Yeah.
That's great. That's good. Great conversation.
Yeah.
It's a different perspective, right? Because we've been, like you said, we've been talking a lot about ourselves. And as we go on this journey, it's like, what does it mean for us to lose someone? What does it mean for us to experience XYZ? Um, well, there's two pieces to that puzzle sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And it's how can I be that person? And I think that in my life, I've had the opportunity to be that person for my wife, for friends, for family. And I've also had people be that person for me
Yeah.
in a lot of those places. So the takeaway for me is if you're experiencing some of these things, or if you're in a relationship where you have these challenges, I love what you said. Slow down,
Slow down.
slow down. So
And a lot of
that's
what
my
you
takeaway.
named, you kept saying communicate, right? Slow down. It changes the way you communicate. If you're communicating, these
Yeah.
open channels are going to help you understand what's really going on, what you really need
Yeah.
from each other.
That first
Love that.
emotional response, I think sometimes is probably not always the best.
It's the survival
Not going to say it's not the right one.
Yeah.
It's just not the best one.
for sure.
Awesome. Well, what if we move into a therapist ask a regular guy?
Let's do it.
Awesome.
So this was good one. I picked this one because actually when you're listening to this, we have already started our trip to the beach. So I like this one. It resonated with me. This was a couple who doesn't have kids.
Mhm.
It's summer. They go on vacation. The person who sent in the the question said, when we go on vacation, especially to places like the beach, my partner likes to sit on the beach and relax and read a book and just kind of be there in the sun.
Yep.
And I don't. I think it was, so I think they were talking about I like to be more active and I like to do things. They said, what do we do when we have such different ideas of what's going to be best for us during a vacation? And so
Great question.
start us off, regular guy.
First and foremost, I live this every time we go to the beach, my wife and I. And I think it goes back to communication. For me, understanding, I would say 2 C's, right? Communication and compromise.
Okay.
In this situation of like, listen, I recognize that this is what vacation looks like for you. Vacation doesn't look like that for me, or at least not entirely like that for me. What if we sat on the beach together and then in the afternoon we did something that I wanted to do, right? Or what if it's okay that we didn't spend 24 hours together today, and while you were doing something that was really enjoyable to you, laying around in the sun reading a book, what if I was doing something that was fun to me, riding a jet ski, building a sandcastle,
Bungee jumping,
right? Something different than reading a book, right? I think one of the things, and again, I live this, right? My wife loves the beach because she loves lying in the sand and reading a book. So one of the things that I've challenged myself with is, okay, I can do that at least for a period of time, but like, I better be a book that I like. And so I have found books. We went on a vacation a couple of years back, where part of the vacation was like, we were just going to sit and read a book. And I was like, I had a book, but I didn't read it on the plane there. And I didn't read it before that because I knew I had to save it. Right. For when I was going to need it, which was when we had planned to be laying on a beach reading books. I think that's part of it. I don't know.
Yeah. I also
therapist this up for me.
I also resonate with this very much in the same direction as you. So right now, as people are listening to this, likely you and me are on the beach,
building a sandcastle, throwing a football,
throwing a child into the ocean, something like that.
And where are our wives during this?
Taking breath, reading a book, having a nice time. Yeah. So what you said communication and compromise. I feel like the therapist answer here, there's like something in the middle that gets you. And personally, I hate the word compromise. There's nuance to it, but I feel like it means I lose, you lose in a way.
Lose.
And so don't love that, at least that definition of it. So that's on me. I can just define it.
Okay, fine. Win-win. We each get something we want. We don't each lose something. Sure. We each get something.
There you go. And so what is the communication that's happening that's getting you to this win-win experience? I think it is about understanding each other more. It's about being vulnerable. It's about all the things we always are talking about here.
The themes.
Right. And so the way that shows up in this, I think it's not saying, how do I start this conversation so that I can win the argument or beat them in making a better decision so that now we're either reading the book or we're running on the beach, whatever is going on there. I think it's more about really sitting down and saying, let's understand what's going on for each of us. What is it about sitting there in the sun, reading the book that is best for you? What is it about moving around and being active that is best for you? Why does that make sense? Why is that different from each other? Because I think I want to come with a better word than compromise. I think the thing that happens, I haven't thought of the word yet, is that the more you understand each other, the more clear your shared goal becomes. It's not my goal is this and yours is this. How can we compromise by doing 50 of that, 50 of that? Saying, I have a really stressful life. And when I go on vacation, I want to shut down a little bit and I just want to like feel the wind. And it also feels really nice when my partner's next to me for that for a little bit. And you're going like, oh, well, that isn't what I would pick, but that sounds like kind of really nice that they feel connected to me in that situation. I want to be there for them in that way. Or I feel really connected to you when we're doing something and when we're laughing together and when we're moving our body and trying to figure something out together. And that's why I want to do that. And then, I don't want you to lose out on that because I just want to sit and read a book. I actually want that for you too. I want to connect with you that way. Or I think it becomes clearer. These are shared goals for us. If the goal is to feel relaxed and connected on vacation, now we both understood that we are a part of that for each other. And so it makes sense that, yeah, let's pick some time to read a book because that's one way we're going to connect. And let's pick some time to rent bikes and ride them down the beach because that's what feels good to connect for us.
I think that's a great point. It's understanding what are the goals of the vacation. I think vacations always have different goals. I mean, I want to relax and do nothing. Some of them, I want to explore this cool new place that we're going to that we've never been before, which oftentimes doesn't look like relaxing, right? Now with the stage in our lives, I want our kids to be able to do XYZ, whatever that looks like. And I think when our kids are on vacation with us, there's a different goal to the vacation versus when you're on a vacation, just my wife and I. So I like it. That's cool.
Yeah.
That being said, I'll be digging some holes and making some sandcastles.
But that's why we're going together.
Exactly.
So yeah,
we each have a babysitter. And our wives don't have to be the babysitter for us.
That's right.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Well, cool.
Love it.
This is fun.
Yeah.
So thanks again for everybody who's listening. Please make sure to subscribe. Please make sure to follow us on Instagram, Man Up Together Podcast. Please make sure to send us any emails if you have any questions, any feedback, any ideas for episodes, or questions at manuptogetherpodcast.com.
Also, if you're laying on the beach and you just finish your book and you go, oh, there's 2 more days, just listen to all the episodes.
Yeah, listen to it again.
Yeah. Or if your partner is like, I'm going to do this, you can go on that hike and you're all alone on the hike, put in those AirPods and listen to us.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Well, thank you again.
We will look forward to seeing you next week when we're at the beach so we can continue to try and man up together.
The Man Up Together podcast was produced and edited by Alex Peskin and Bobby Jacobs. Special thank you to our wives, family, friends, and coworkers who have supported us in so many ways throughout this process. You can find us on Instagram at Man Up Together Podcast, and you can email us at questions@manuptogetherpodcast.com. If you are interested in joining us on this journey, please like, subscribe, and share this with someone you care about. Thank you for listening. See you next week.